In an expansive fiat money printing world and taxation world, it's very clear to me that our species is far off from the programming of learning what Bitcoin is, maybe in the energetic sense, in the simple sense, as we call it, Shinan in the Shipibo. Shinan is the original thought transaction or the source code or consciousness of where something comes from, right? So something might have bad Shinan. And last night I was thinking about this before I came on the podcast. Anything that is built on our monetary system, anything is built on a fiat system, eventually turns bad, eventually crumbles. It's always like a cat and mouse game. It's always an expansion. Things are getting cheaper. People are putting more poisons in the food. Products are getting cheaper. Look at the architecture of the old world or Taj Mahal or, some of these big, beautiful palaces and Tartaria, as we talked about before. I don't really see that anymore. I see buildings falling apart made of drywall and plastic and all of these things, and debts increasing and mortgages increasing and all of this. So, just tuning into the simplicity of why it's important to hold and transfer our energy as a currency of attention and proof of work over time, and having patience for our generations and our species to actually understand the value of that right now. So that's what came up.
What you're talking about there in the terms of thinking about Bitcoin and money as energy transfer, I've been struck by this. The expansion of fiat money is a form of entropy. It's lost energy, and it's that entropy which causes the degradation of everything over time, right? The race to the bottom in terms of quality, because if you're continually forced to try and make more paper, that paper is losing value as you're earning it. It's an inefficient exchange where you're never going to get then output that equals your input.
Yeah, and where are the unconscious beliefs and thoughts around operating on a system that we're not aware of like this, right? We're aware of how it's working, how the changes, how the money printing affected us, how prices go up, things like this. How does that affect our work? How does that affect the Shinan or the idea of us going? Are we trying to escape? How many people are trying to make money to find safety or to escape, right? And the mathematical code is right there. I just have to get on God's speed, which is perfect pace, which is 10-minute blocks, right? So if you get on the God speed and you are able to understand Bitcoin, put 100 hours in, 1,000 hours in, and understand what it is, you can actually pace out the expansion by transferring some of the energy to the time chain and locking in a probable future for yourself, where you walk into more energy, more choice, more time, right? So if you put away, $1,000 today, if you understand Bitcoin, if you actually understand the code, if you looked at it long enough, you can trust it. It's only a matter of time before the Overton window happens, right? Without all of the noise, you're actually locking in a probable future, which takes the energy back, which makes you kind of sit back and not worry so much, that you can transfer some of your work and energy out of a leaking system and hold it in a future timeline that you walk into. And as you walk into this future timeline, you're actually learning and seeing and cleaning the spirit of fiat, and if we look at the Shinan of fiat in the monetary system, who's it run by? Where did it come from? Rothschilds, all of this, what is their Shinan? What is their energy, right? That's what it's all attached to. Every time we spend $1, every time we use this money, we might not be conscious of it, but it doesn't end up good. There's no strength in it, right? There's fear, there's safety, there's escape programs. A lot of people want to make a bunch of money so they can escape this system, but there's no escape. And as we see in the sovereign individual, it says wealth in the future won't be measured by how many zeros in your bank account. It'll be the freedom of spend and freedom of movement. And we see all the censorship coming, just like they might have done in the past with burning of the books. Now everything is digital, right? So controlling the narrative over generations, changing Wikipedia, controlling the search algorithms of Google and everything else. And we get accustomed to a lot of people have their businesses on social media and on Instagram. When they post something that's a little bit out of line of the narrative, they get warnings or they get shut down, and it takes, and this subconsciously and algorithmically conditions people over time, and they just kind of passively say, okay, I'm not going to post that. I can't have free speech. And it changes, and this changes through generations. And as we change through generations with the system, it's slowly conditioned through our teachings, through our children, through our grandchildren, to where it becomes normalized. Taxes became normalized. Taxes were brought in for the war, income taxes, and they're still here. They don't make sense because if you're expanding the monetary system, taxes don't pay for roads or anything. It's a way to control the public and have them force their attention on politics, on the drama. Right? So our real currency is actually attention. And what we pour our attention into is what we nourish. And if our attention is on trying to escape this machine, escape the matrix, escape the narratives of what's going on, we're taking our attention away from our work and from our community and from our family. If we are tending our own garden and we're pouring into what we're growing and what weeds we're pulling out, that garden flourishes. But if we're trying to grow a bunch of food to prepare for the future, or going over to our neighbor's garden and complaining, or all of this, we're taking the attention away. So as we start to do our work and as we start to adopt Bitcoin, and as you guys start, you wrote that book and you guys are having this company and the ideas. And, when you meet somebody that has been in Bitcoin for a few years and just really gets that orange pill, as they say, their Shinan, their frequency is completely different than other people in other crypto projects or fiat projects, right? It's a very self-serving selfishness outside of Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is more so future. It's like looking at a better future. Why? For our family, for our society.